If you desire to walk in alignment with your purpose, to live a life of joy, abundance, and fulfillment, you've come to the right place. This is Sarah Locke, and welcome to Purpose Unlocked. Hello, everyone, and welcome to season 2 of Purpose Unlocked with me, Sarah Locke. And I'm so excited to start this new season off. I have a slightly refined vision for what I want for this podcast, because I personally am obsessed with these really bro-y podcasts, is what I would call them. But they're the people like Chris Williamson, love him, Alex Hormozy, and people like that, like the David Goggins of the podcast world, the people who have proven to be very successful, but they have this really intense hustle mentality, which I love. I am not hating on that. I think that's so important. And it's so important to have this idea where you can go after anything that you want in life, but you have to work really hard for it. You have to dedicate your time and you really have to push forward. And I love that, because anything that I've really wanted, I have been able to achieve, but it has taken hard work. It's taken time, it's taken learning and building new skill sets. So I love that mentality, but I think that the way that they go about it, it's very unique to them, of course, because they're coming at it from a completely different lens. Most of them are men that are either married or single, but a lot of them don't have children, at least the ones that I follow, these very successful men that have been successful in the podcasting world. And so a lot of the advice that they give, even men that have had children, like Elon Musk, for example, who's wildly successful and does have a fairly large family. Again, it's from the male point of view. And I am not one of those. I do consider myself like kind of feminist, but I'm definitely not like a man hating woman. I think men are fantastic. All of like my favorite coworkers and bosses, like they've been men, because I was in analytics. So I just, in the math field, you're going to be surrounded by men. So I'm not coming at it from a point of view that I have something against them, but I'm coming at it from the point of view of I'm a mom, and that is so different. And I think that there's a lot of women out there that can relate to the fact that it's really, really hard to do it all, but I have no doubt that we can. And I don't think and before I go any further with that, I do want to caveat it with the fact that I don't think that we should have to do it all, and we certainly shouldn't have to do it all alone. I think that having a supportive partner, whether you're a man or a woman, I think that having a supporting partner is so important. I couldn't do anything that I do without the support of Mark. He's an amazing dad, and he's really stepped up to the plate. And while I'm doing this, he's downstairs watching the playoff games and watching the baby, making sure that I have the time that I can dedicate toward pursuing my vision and my future and my purpose and my passion. So when I talk about my refined vision for the podcast, what I'm referring to is the fact that I really want to have what I would call the Broy podcast for women. So how can we, as women, as mothers, how can we be successful? And what does that look like? Because if someone like Alex Hormozy is giving advice of you need to dedicate 20 hours to anything to start getting good at it. Okay, that makes sense. I like that statistic. But he's like, yeah, you could do that in a day or 2 days, and you could be better at it by the end of the week. And this and that. I love that. Love that for you. Go after it. But for us as women raising a baby, a brand new baby that needs all of your attention, or just kids in general, what does that look like for us? And how can we adopt the hustle mindset, but in a way that it's going to make it work, and it's going to make it work for a mother? who is prioritizing her baby over everything, but then also wants to prioritize herself and her passion and her purpose. Because as much as I adore Kingston, I adore him. And I know that being a mom is my absolute number one priority. That is the job that I have wanted for my entire life. And I love it. But I'm still me, and I still want to pursue my purpose and my passion. Not to mention the fact that I was in corporate America. I had a really good job, and I took a step back from that, not on purpose, but because I was a part of a massive round of layoffs, unfortunately. But then fortunately, it all worked out to where I was able to be at home during my pregnancy and now be at home for the baby. So I really want to make this work. I want to pursue building my own company, because if I can't make that work and I can't build my dream of having my own hours and being able to be home for him while also building this business and doing all of the things that I really, really want to do in this life, if I can't do that, then I have to go back to corporate America. And not that I didn't love corporate America, I did love it. But I want to make my own hours and I want to raise my own children. So those are my priorities, and this is how I am going to make that happen. So this is my plan. And I don't know if it's going to work. That's the thing. I'm brand new at this. So I think part of me recording this is also going to be me recording my journey into entrepreneurship, because I think that that's important too. I think so many people, if they get to the top or they get to where they want to be, they forget what it took to get there, or people take for granted the fact that, oh, it was an overnight success. So I want to record the journey, because the journey is, the most beautiful part anyway. Like, we like to see the progress that we're making. I think as humans, we desire progress over everything else. We desire to grow. And so I want to record the growth journey. And I'm so excited that you're on it with me. So my plan, because here's the thing, as a mom, you don't have a lot of time, because these beautiful little adorable chubby little humans, they require all of your attention all of the time. And they don't let you sleep through the night. They torture you, and you have to get up and you have to feed them, and they cry, and they're beautiful. And after them crying and screaming and you having to rush to feed them, after all of that, then they're I call it milk drunk. They're milk drunk and tired, and you just hold them, and they're so beautiful, and you're like, oh, thank goodness you are the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life, because if you weren't, I'd probably lose my mind. But I think that as moms, we have to ask ourselves, if you could make it work, what would you do and what would that look like? So that's how I've gone about thinking about this and gone about building my plan. Because I'm like, all right, if I could make it work, what would that look like? Because we can find every excuse in the world as to why it won't work and how we don't have time. But if you could make it work, if you really, really want something, what would it look like? How would your schedule change? How would you make time when there is seemingly no time? So this is my plan. Is the plan going to work? I don't know. I don't know. That's why I'm speaking the plan into existence, and we'll see what happens. So my plan is, I used to, pre-baby, I I would go to bed early. So I'd go to bed between 8:30 and 9:30, let's say. And I would generally wake up between 4:30 and 5:30 to go to the gym. So I think that that's pretty reasonable. Like, you're still in bed for 8 hours. You're not necessarily sleeping for 8 hours, but you're getting enough sleep that you can function as a human being. Now, if you add a baby to the mix, you're definitely not getting that many hours of sleep, because they're waking up at 12 o'clock, and then at 2 o'clock, and then at 4 o'clock. At least that's my experience. He's only 3 months old, so I'm hoping that that gets a little bit better. But for the time being, that's my life. And here we are. So my plan is to go to bed early, try to get in bed by 8 o'clock. Now, my wonderful husband will probably watch well, he will watch the baby, but he'll probably wind up putting him to bed somewhere between 10 and 12 o'clock. But 12 o'clock, he's going to be ready for another feeding. So that might mean that will definitely mean that I need to wake up and pump and feed him if I'm going to bed at 8. So anyway, so now you have to figure out the math of the situation, right? So now you're balancing and not just the baby needing to eat, but also when you need to wake up and pump. So those of us that are breastfeeding, that are able to breastfeed, awesome. Uh, Breastfeeding direct to source wasn't working for me. It wasn't very comfortable. And also this having to like push a screaming baby's head onto your breast while they're hungry in the middle of the night, like I wasn't making it. So it was not working. So once I started pumping, I was like, let's try this. Let's try a bottle, because if we go to church, like I don't want to breastfeed at church. I'd rather just give them a bottle. So let's see how that works. It worked beautifully. It's great. I love it. By love it, I mean I love the fact that we can give him the bottle and that my husband can give him the bottle and that I'm not the only one responsible for feeding him. I know some babies won't even take a bottle. So that's another challenge. Every baby's different. So again, this is my experience. So the plan: go to bed early and then still wake up early. So I would love to shoot for 4, but I will probably be very tired. So I would love to go to bed at 8, wake up at 4, but we'll see, because 4 o'clock is one of the feedings. And then I don't know, sometimes he doesn't sleep all the way until 6. Sometimes like he'll only sleep until 5. And then like that last hour, like 45 minutes to an hour of sleep is trash for me anyway. So it's not like I'm getting more rest. So again, here's the plan: go to bed at 8, wake up somewhere between 4 and 6, and then I know that he'll still have to be fed and put back to bed, but I will have time to work on what I want to work on and work on my growing my business and building my website and doing all of those things while he's back to sleep for an hour or 2 at a time. By that time in the morning, it'll probably be only an hour at a time, because during the day, he usually only sleeps for 45 minutes to an hour at a time. So during the night, he'll sleep for like 2 hours at a time. If we're real lucky, we can push 3, but that doesn't happen very often. That's like a golden gift. I'm hoping soon we'll get to 4, from my lips to God's ears. So anyway, that's my plan. That's my plan for building my hustle culture, hustle mentality, because coming from a mom's perspective, it's so different. So I want this to be a space where women can be honest about the struggles that they are having building their business and what they have done to make it work building their business, even while growing and raising little adorable baby humans. Uh, so that's my plan. That's my goal. That's my vision for this season of the podcast. So I thank you for joining me. And I will leave you with that one question that I asked earlier. And that is, if you could make it work, what would it look like in your ideal world? So create the plan, try to execute the plan, see if it works. I will be trying to execute my plan this week as my husband returns to work from his paternity leave. And I'm doing the mom thing now. I don't want to say by myself, but it's going to feel like that, right? He's going to be working. I'm going to have to be, taking the reins on everything. So that is my plan for if I could make it work. This is what I'm going to try to do. And I'll let you know next week how that goes. But in the meantime, count your blessings, love yourself, and stay fabulous. Thank you for the precious gift of your time. If you found this helpful, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share with someone you love. Until next time, count your blessings, love yourself, and stay fabulous.